So hi guys, welcome back to this week's Footy Friday, and in this week's episode we are going to look back on the international break because it is, since our last podcast I know we watched the England game against San Marino, I think, if I remember rightly.
That's the one.
I nearly forgot then. Just talk about the international break, what we thought about it, and then have a look towards what the weekend's games are going to be like, because obviously the Premier League is back this weekend, and then once we've done that, we'll have a look at we'll try and rank some football pundits and commentators to see what we think about what our opinions are of them. So let's just get straight into it.
Yep.
We watched the England game. They beat San Marino 5-0. It was always going to happen. Because it was San Marino.
Not as convincing. I know it sounds weird saying not convincing at 5-0, but I expected better.
Well, yeah, considering, in the first, they had 30 chances.
Yeah, exactly.
At one point, didn't they?
Yeah, that many. I know, it was crazy.
Not only that, it was like in the first half, it could have been 6-7-0.
Well, exactly. Sterling missing, I think, 2 or 3. Stones put one over the bar. I think it was Stones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they easily could have scored. Easily double figures.
Yeah.
Did you see the Japan-Mongolia?
Yes, I did see Japan versus Mongolia.
But God damn.
Jesus. Yeah, it wasn't a good one for that one.
Not quite. Can't think of a Mongolian player, but
No. And then obviously England beating Albania 2-0.
Again, not convincing.
No, it really would. It was a bit of a. It was just a bit. I don't know what. Something about it just couldn't. Just didn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that this, on paper, I feel like this England team is probably the best one we've had in a good sort of 15, 20 years.
I think it's the best one we've had since, the golden generation.
Early 2000s, sort of.
Definitely.
Sort of like Beckham, Neville, Scholes, Owen, Shearer, people like that. But that team didn't win anything, and I'm not very confident about this team either, especially with the last few games. They've slowly played more challenging opposition, and it doesn't look very promising for when we actually have to play someone that's actually pretty good, because we have to score Harry Maguire has to bang in a goal 5 minutes from time to seal a 2-1 win over Poland. Doesn't really speak volumes of how good the quality is.
No, considering the Poland team was it last night? It was last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Poland team last night, wasn't the best. It still had lots of good players in. Pitek, Glick, Szczesny, Kachawak, just to name a few. Bednarek. These are all. Well, obviously Lewandowski wasn't playing because he was injured. But there's plenty of.
No mind.
There's plenty of players in there that play regular first team football.
Yeah, definitely.
So, it's not exact. It's not 100% the top level of where England want to be, because they want to be playing against, Belgium, France, Germany. That's where they want to be right now.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at Belgium, you look at France, and they're dominating teams. You look at England, and they're scraping by. Currently, in the future, that it might be different. But for the last 3 games, although they've won every game, it's not been in convincing fashion.
But in previous years, qualifying, we've been great at qualifying.
Yeah,
I think for the Euros, when we lost to Czech Republic, that was the first loss we've had in a qualifier in, I think, was 5 years or something like that.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, we seem to do really well in qualifying, but again, I feel like people are sort of overlooking the fact that we're winning rather than actually looking at the performance. People are looking at players like Phil Foden and Calvert-Lewin or, Mason Mount and seeing the individual performances. But as a team, it's the strongest team it's been in 20 years and it doesn't look right. Something isn't right and I can't put my finger on it.
I don't know what it is, but sometimes we seem to play better in the World Cup when we had 3 at the back. And
so what are they playing at the minute? 5?
4. They played a 4-3-3 against Poland, and I think they played a 4-2-3-1 against Albania, and they definitely played a 4-2-3-1 against San Marino.
Oh right.
Yeah, they played a 4-2-3-1 against Albania, and they played a 4-2-3-1 against San Marino as well.
Oh, that's odd. Oh.
Yeah, considering with the World Cup performances, and I would have thought that Gareth would have wanted to be an attacking side.
I think the ability we have going forward definitely outweighs the ability we have in defence. We should be looking to be the attacking team, the aggressor in a match, but we have shown it against San Marino, obviously, but it would have been stupid to sit back.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to go and attack as much as we should, and we've got bags and bags of quality going forward, and it just seems like they're not taking it.
Yeah, there was plenty of chances you saw against Poland when it was the Mason Mount Phil Foden link up. It was a really good. Quite a few times, there was quite a good chances where Mason Mount was putting balls over the top. Phil Foden was getting on the end of it, or vice versa. We've got talent. Like you said, going forwards, it just seems to be lacking a bit at the back.
Yeah.
And I think if we changed the formation, I think it would help because you've got that extra support.
Yeah.
Because obviously Walker and Chilwell, for example, they want to go forwards. If they're right back and left backs, whereas if Walker's playing right centre back, he's not gonna go and attack.
No.
So I think if you did that and then had Reece James, for example, at right wing back or whatever, and then Chilwell at left wing back or Luke Shaw, whoever, I think it'll work well.
Yeah.
Because you'll have the pace of Kyle Walker if Reece James gets beaten by, and then you'll have people to cover if Chilwell or Luke Shaw gets beaten.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's exactly it.
So, overall, yes, happy with England winning, obviously. Because, you want them to win. But, like you said, it's not really that challenging.
No.
We were always going to do pretty well in qualifiers.
Yeah, it's nothing. And we never seem to get the difficult teams.
No, it just seems a bit. I understand, like you said, like we said. I think it was in the England watch along. Poland was going to be our toughest opponent, and to be honest with you, they were.
So far, it has been. Yeah, you saw the John Stones mistake. Obviously, I felt bad for him because that's sort of what got him forced out of the Man City team, like last year or the year before, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because he was sort of starting to make errors, and that just looked exactly like what he was doing before. And I felt bad for him, but he sort of helped with the assist to Maguire, and they obviously went over to congratulate him because he contributed a bit more. And I just hope that's not a sign of things to come. The good thing with that though is that when they'd done it before, who was the backup? Was it Cahill? Like when he was in England when he was making those mistakes, I think Cahill was the backup, and now you've got Mings, you've got Keane. I know he's not been picked, but when he comes back,
you just got to look at even some of the younger players. You got Tomori, you've got
exactly.
Ben Godfrey. Those two have been at the under-21s tournament for England.
Yeah. Yeah. So
See,
you see, the even if he is making those mistakes, we can not afford to make those mistakes because it could cost a victory, but he can afford to maybe have a lull in performance and have someone else come in whilst his game raises again, rather than consistently playing him and having those negative performances.
yeah, because it's he's a good player. He's a great player. I'd happily take him over some of the some of the centre backs on the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Because especially now this season, he's really shown his resilience and he's able to bounce back and work on himself.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And the other player who's done that is obviously Jesse Lingard, because he played very well against San Marino. It's just a shame he didn't really have much minutes against Albania or Poland.
Yeah, it just shows the fact that it wasn't the fact that his performances were dwindling and he wasn't getting any better. It's just the fact he wasn't getting his opportunity and the chance. And now it shows that you don't necessarily have to play. I've said this before. You don't necessarily now have to play at the top team to be warranted a national call-up. Gareth Southgate's aware of players playing lower down and is willing to give them the opportunity.
Yeah, because I think he just has now with the wider spectrum of players. You've got. I know some of these some of them are under 21s, but there's quite a lot of players, English players, that are abroad now. You've got some in the Netherlands, Germany, some in France. They're all over.
Yeah. So
I think that helps as well, being influenced by other countries at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
That's always coming. They're always coming through. And like you said, when you've got players like Jesse Lingard who aren't necessarily playing for the big six,
mm-hmm.
It really does show. Jack Grealish as well, when he gets back fit and properly match ready, he'll be a massive contender for all the spots.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You got, like you said, you got Tyrone Mings in there. I know, like the goalkeeper positions not really been challenging that much for Pickford, but if you look at them, you had for this international break, you had Sam Johnson at West Brom, who were down the bottom of the table, Nick Pope from Burnley, who were down the bottom of the table, and obviously United reserve keeper Dean Henderson.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, exactly.
Reserve
keeper. It's a bit harsh.
All right, cup keeper.
Yeah, that's better.
I mean, he still sits on the bench. He still sits on the bench for the league games sometimes.
Well, yeah, the big games I think De Gea plays, but the smaller ones, Hendo can play.
But like you said, now it's not a case of picking players for teams. It's picking players for players.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it should always have been. And maybe we would have got a bit more success under Roy Hodgson. Well, I think Roy Hodgson sort of. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a wire.
Yeah, it's a lovely view that for everyone to watch.
Sorry, you see what I had for breakfast. It was managers like Fabio Capello. I feel like, because he didn't necessarily have the knowledge of the English game and didn't necessarily have the knowledge of the players playing further down in the table, he would just pick pretty much the team that was before. Whereas now Gareth Southgate's been there a long time. How long has he been there? 3 years? 4 years?
He's been at the main position
for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been in the main position for more than 4 years now. Because I think it was 2016. After 2016, I think.
Oh wow! So
2016 was the Euros, wasn't it? So that was Hodgson, or was it?
Yeah, Hodgson was the last
one.
Yeah, Hodgson,
and then he got Then after Euro 2016, when we didn't have the best look, and obviously got knocked out by Iceland, that's when Hodgson got the sack, and then he came in after that. I think.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think so. Yeah. So he's been in the position for quite a while now.
Yeah, he sort of understands, and he was given. I suppose you could say it with Roy Hodgson, like when Ricky Lambert was there, and he gave the odd other player. I'm trying to think of someone else.
But when Ricky Lambert, for example, when Ricky Lambert played, he was playing against Scotland in a friendly. He wasn't playing in qualifiers or anything like that. He wasn't really.
Yeah,
he wasn't really playing in the big games. It's just picking players because they could.
Mm-hmm.
So I think slowly but surely, we are coming to terms with the fact that we don't need to trust the big names and big teams anymore.
Yeah,
because that's what it obviously, like you said, with Fabio Capello, it was big names, big players. Let's just trust them. They'll win us something.
Results. Yeah, exactly. Who were some players that were flying under the radar then? I'm trying to think.
Well, Nathan Redmond. Because remember the flipping thing.
Yeah.
Was Hendo around then?
Henderson was around. He would have been at Sunderland up to then.
Yeah, so he might have been a bit too young.
Yeah, because he was only a teenager, I think, when he started playing for them.
To be honest with you, the way to look at it is most of the under-21 squad. Really?
Yeah, probably Harry Kane. Harry Kane at the time, but then he was never going to outplace Rooney. Defoe, I think, was there then. Andy Carroll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's good. He definitely wouldn't be outplacing Andy Carroll. But then again, it depends on the manager, doesn't it? Because every manager plays a certain way.
Yeah.
Because obviously Roy was a very English manager, which was, let's just pass the ball to the man up front. He'll hold it up. Everyone gets with him, and then we attack.
Yeah.
Whereas Southgate's more, let's play possession, attacking, let's go at them.
Mm-hmm.
Which
works better for our, sort of. In practice, that's what they do, but in reality, it's sort of half of that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of working. They just need to do something. Obviously, I'm not a manager, so I don't exactly know what is wrong with it. But there is something off, and I think when they find that, they could very much be a contender for the World Cup.
Oh yeah,
because now I think they'll be lucky now. I think to make sort of the quarterfinals.
Well, especially with the performances of some of the teams recently. I know like Belgium, for example. They, I know it was Belarus, but they beat them 8-0.
Yep.
You've got the likes of France, Germany, Italy is another one. Italy are doing really well.
Turkey are doing well as well.
Yeah, Turkey is a very underrated team.
Mm-hmm.
It was all of it. Yeah, it's just something just needs to click relatively soon, hopefully.
Relatively soon.
Yeah, within the next few months.
Yeah, so we can win a tournament for once.
Yes, in that first PSL since 1966.
It'd be nice. It would be nice to see it.
Yeah, things you love to see. It.
Yeah.
But move away from England because obviously the international break's over and done with now. Now let's look over to the weekend. We've got a busy weekend because obviously it's Easter weekend, so there are football league games tomorrow on Easter Friday. The Good Friday, should I say. We don't need to worry too much about that because that's just EFL League 1 and 2, Championship League 1 and 2. And then Saturday, which is a Premier League, early kick-off is Chelsea versus West Brom. I think Chelsea win that one relatively easily.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, I think Chelsea under Tuchel have looked a lot more strong, especially in defence. Their defence again just looked really strong. Mendy's looked quality. Their midfield looked quality. Kante's starting to show what he did, 3-4 years ago. And although Timo Werner's still, I saw that miss he did against North Macedonia, and I just thought, oof. But eventually it will come good. He's not going to have a whole career where he's missing them easy chances. It's just a bad time for him at the minute. But yeah, I think West Brom, their only goal scorer at the minute is Diagne or Diane. So I'd say a good 3-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah, I would have said 3. I would have said either 3-0 or 3-1. 3-1, the one coming from a corner or something like that, getting someone like Bartley or someone on the end of a corner.
Yeah,
and that'll probably be it for them. I don't think West Brom will have it in them. Next one being Leeds versus Sheffield United. Again, Leeds to win.
Sorry.
Leeds versus Sheffield United. I think Leeds will win, obviously.
Yeah, I think Sheffield, even with Chris Wilder, they were struggling, but without him, even more so. Leeds, under Bielsa, attacking is what they do. Defence, not as much, but, they've got that Meslier in goal, a young 21-year-old, I think, or 20.
Yeah.
And he looks amazing. I think PSG have been looking at him.
Well, I don't blame him because he's a young French guy.
Yeah, he'd fit right in it. He'd fit right in there. But I guess we'll see. Leeds, yeah, I'd say 2-0 because I think Leeds will score quite early, and then maybe 60th, 70th minute, and we'll just cruise towards the end. Sheffield won't be much of a threat, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Leeds will win it 3-0. Like you said, Leeds getting a goal in the early in the first half just to settle the nerves of the game, then sort of coast through the game, and then towards the end, like halfway through the second half, kick it up that little bit just to kill the game off completely.
Yeah,
and I just think that's Leeds all over. One of the two big games on the Saturday is Leicester. The first one is Leicester versus Man City. Obviously, earlier on in the season, at home for City, Leicester beat them 5-2. This one being at Leicester now. I don't see a repeat of the same match, the same result. I think it'd be quite close. I think it'd be close though. Sorry.
I was going to say I see not the exact score in reverse, but I think City will probably score at least 3. I think Leicester, Jamie Vardy recently, hasn't been the player he has been in the last few years. So I think maybe 3-1 to City.
I think 3-2 because I think it'll be almost like a tennis match where it'd be like City will score first, then Leicester, then City, then Leicester, and then City will go and kill the game off. Because the thing is with Man City is they've got really good game management skills.
Mm-hmm.
So once the game's over and done with, the game's over and done with then.
Well, I don't think Leicester necessarily have that anymore. I think last season they showed it quite a lot. But I think now Leicester don't have the ability to keep going up and back, up and back, up and back.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the players to do that anymore. And although, Maddison and Barnes and Vardy and Iheanacho and Ndidi and, Tielemans, Pratt are all really good, and Castagna, but I don't know. Again, I think Leicester need to freshen it up a bit. I think they're relying on, players like, I know Iheanacho's been playing well, but I think they're relying on Jamie Vardy, Albrighton, Johnny Evans, Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah,
they don't seem to have the replacements for them yet.
Not yet. We've seen Fofana come in, obviously, who's, he's 20, is he? Something like that?
20, I think.
He's been partnering... Has he been partnering Evans?
He's been partnering Evans because Soyuncu was injured, but Soyuncu's coming back now.
So I think it'll only be. I think eventually we will see Evans being faded out and Soyuncu will come in next to Fofana. I don't know whether
Fofana's
Fofana's
only on loan though.
I was going to say, but I would presume that Leicester will try as much as they can to just buy him in the summer. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't.
Yeah.
But then again, it's whether they would sell him or not.
I suppose off recent performance, Saint Etienne would have. It is Saint Etienne, isn't it?
Yes.
Whether they would be willing to, but I'm trying to think who they have. I couldn't even think. But again, I suppose it would depend on the fee, because Leicester, I think, have the ability to be a very top team in England, but they always seem to want to find the bargain, which isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing, because if you can turn, a £10 million player into an £80 million player and sell him for £80 million in 2 years, really good. And, the board and owners are always going to love that. But they seem to think of that. They seem to care about the money side of things without thinking of where they want to get to. Yeah. They don't, it seems like they don't, like, when was the last player they signed where you thought, oh, that's he could have gone to any club? Maybe Tielemans.
I was going to say Tielemans is probably the only one, because he was talked about for ages about being Belgium's next big thing. But
like when he was at Anderlecht, he was being linked with United. He was being linked with Real Madrid. But then he had that season or two at Monaco where it sort of faded off. Man United weren't interested. I think they probably got linked to him, but they were never going to buy him. Other teams were linked to him, but then Leicester went in. It seems that Leicester would either wait until their sort of profile dies down a little bit and then they get them, or they're very keen to look at the underrated players, which again is a good thing and it's doing really well for them. But I feel like they're never going to go away from that, and hence why they're never going to consistently do really well in terms of challenging and winning trophies.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, to win trophies, you need big players. You can't rely on.
You can't hope. You need instant impact.
Yeah, because what you need to do.
And they've been very lucky with some players like Harvey Barnes stepping up to the plate. James Maddison, signing him from Norwich, there was no guarantee he was going to step up. Luckily, he has. Tielemans coming from Monaco and not having the best year, 2 years. Fofana, Johnny Evans, there was no guarantee.
Yeah.
But, it's working, and, you're never going to complain about finishing consistently sort of top 4 or 5 when your outgoings are significantly. Your outgoings? No. Your income is significantly higher than your outgoings.
Yeah.
So you're never going to complain at that. And I'm sure the Leicester fans would like trophies, but they're consistently playing well and are reaching, semi-finals and the occasional final. So I suppose for Leicester fans, they're pretty happy.
And then moving to the final game on Saturday, Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
This is it's a big one. Or it would be, years ago, because of because of the history that both clubs have had.
Yeah.
But recently it's not, especially this season with Liverpool not performing as they were last season. Arsenal definitely nowhere near performing what they were seasons before.
No. I think Arsenal could win this one.
Yeah, I do too. I do as well.
Again, I think Arsenal, although they haven't looked necessarily the strongest, what is it? Travis Scott? Is he up front from?
You just said Travis Scott?
Yeah, have you seen, what's this? Aubameyang's hairstyle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, him. Just, little joke.
I know. I was just trying to put it in
Well, him.
Yeah.
The 35-year-old that shaves a 7 and gets cheetah print in the back of his head with the airline. But Jovino. But, I don't know where I'm going. I think Arsenal will win. I think, I think they'll win. I think they'll do pretty well against the Liverpool side that are obviously struggling. And I think Van Dijk's back in training, but there's no way he probably won't come back till the end of the season, if
No.
at all this season.
You know, I'm looking at the injury list here. Obviously, Liverpool's is much bigger than Arsenal's. Arsenal's being 2 players, Bukayo Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe. Liverpool's being quite a few more than that.
But even just those 2, Arsenal will definitely miss them too, especially Saka.
Yeah, and at Liverpool's being 7 players.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
6 and 5 of them being first-team players.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 of them being centre backs. Yeah, I think I'm still not convinced about the centre back pairing at Liverpool.
It's Fabinho and Kabak at the minute, isn't it?
Or
is it Nat Phillips and Kabak?
It depends. Because when they played Wolves, they had Nat Phillips, didn't they?
It's weird. Yeah, they all seem very different.
They had Kabak and Nat Phillips.
I was going to say it's weird because they all seem varying abilities. Usually you'll have like a veteran and a younger guy, but the younger guy there is Kabak, but I feel like he's not ready for the Liverpool sort of quality yet. I feel like I think it would have been better if he was at like, you know, a Villa, a Palace, a Wolves, someone like that to ready him for that.
Yeah, to get him in the Premier League.
And then obviously Fabinho is world class. He could play in pretty much any club. But then you've got Nat Phillips, who I don't even think is Premier League quality.
The only reason why he's playing is because Van Dijk's injured.
I know that is the only reason.
Actually, it's not even that. It's that Van Dijk's injured, Joe Gomez is injured, Joe Matip's injured.
Well, yeah, they're 3 centre backs that they would choose every game. But that is the only reason. But again, it's just varying qualities, the team sort of all over the place. I think they're finding their feet a little bit. Nat Phillips isn't a bad defender. I just don't think he's obviously not Liverpool quality. But then again, I wouldn't say Kabak is yet. He has the potential to be, but I think at the moment he's too young, and maybe they're testing the water with him this season to potentially put him out on loan, I think, next season.
Well,
if that was me, I'd potentially send him out on loan when Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip come back.
Well, he's on loan. I think he's on loan with an option to buy, so you know they don't even have to buy him. Right now,
they did buy him.
I didn't think they did.
It might not be, but
I thought it was still on. I thought it was still on loan with an option to buy, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
You know, that one did surprise me because it was like, obviously, you know, Schalke being bottom of the table, the worst they've done in a while. You know, I think if ever, defensively, and you've gone and bought a defender from them.
You're right, it's option to buy.
Yeah, you know, you've got and loaned the defenders from them.
Yeah, it seems. I was talking to my friend who's a Liverpool fan, and he was saying, yeah, it was a really smart move, you know, a young player. And he was like, I was thinking, I swear they're doing terribly. How is it a good move to buy a young, inexperienced defender at a struggling team? How's that a good move? It doesn't make sense.
You could easily pick.
Well, to not buy, but you know,
you could easily go for most of the, you know, there's probably loads of players out there who were in a much better position than he was to join Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because why would you? Sorry, to be honest with you, Liverpool could have actually done with an older centre back.
Yeah.
Because they needed someone to lead. Because obviously with Henderson now injured as well, you know, who was the captain against Wolves? Was it?
I know
Fabinho?
Wijnaldum was captain at one point.
It's Wijnaldum, but I don't see Wijnaldum being the one to shout at people, if you know, to get people motivated. I just don't see it. Whereas if you had someone, I'm going to use an example here. Obviously, he wouldn't be going to Liverpool, but if you had Pepe, I know he's old, he's a lot older, but that kind of, because he's a veteran centre back, he knows what's going on in the world of football. He'd be fitting straight into the team. And you don't even need to. You don't need to have him on for 2 years. You could just have him on for 1 season.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you've got that extra, because you've got that. Then you've got that experience, and the younger players can learn off them, as well as them playing to then boost the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what they should have done, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his on the wiki, and he's been a professional for the last 3 years. He's playing for Galatasaray. Like, my friend as well was talking about, he was only 17 when he played for Galatasaray. So that doesn't mean anything. Like, he played 14 games in the league that season. So obviously they didn't want to overwhelm him by playing him every game. But Galatasaray, I mean, is one of the top teams in Turkey, but it's not necessarily comparable to England, is it? And then he goes to Stuttgart, who again are the top team so going from the top team in Turkey to a bottom team in Germany, and then again going to Schalke, it doesn't fill me with confidence. If I was a Man United fan, I'm a Man United fan.
If I was a Liverpool fan,
yeah, if I was a Liverpool fan, and then he came, that's not. I don't see that as fixing the problem. I see that as an option for the future. There's no point signing a 19-year-old with an option to buy or whatever to fit straight into the team when you've got 3 centre-backs injured that are all better than him. And then what are you going to do with him? If you're only going to loan him in, what was the point? You could have, like you said, you could have got someone with tons of experience who could do, who would take the experience in the Premier League, like a Pepe or something that's never been in the Premier League, and then go back to Porto or wherever, and then next year they will come back. It doesn't make sense unless they were probably going to buy him. But then if they're going to buy him, what are they going to do with him? Because next year all 3 centre backs are going to be back, presumably, and he's going to be way down in the pecking order.
Yeah, because it's like they bought that Davis from Preston, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't even think he's played, has he?
I don't think he's played a single game. I think he's sat on the bench. Is he even playing for the under-23s? I don't even know if he's playing for the under-23s.
I'll have a look for you.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's like you've got, and then you've got to I'll go and buy him. I think he's young as well.
He's 25.
But yeah, so he's not that. He's not
relatively
that
young.
Yeah. And he's not played a single game.
Nope.
He's been on the bench for 1, 2, 3, 4 games.
But again, surely it would have made more sense just to put him in and hope for the best than Sanka back and hope that he fits in.
I'm looking back at his Ben Davis. I'm looking back at his career. He's been at Preston all his life, pretty much. He's been on loan to York, Tranmere, Southport, Newport, Fleetwood. He's had games at Preston, which is a championship, so I know it's quite competitive. But other than the championship, the highest he's been is League One. Yeah, League One.
Yeah.
York
again,
City.
It doesn't. I mean, lots of people questioned it, but again, it doesn't seem like good business to sign, a mid-20-year-old that has never played in the Premier League. He's not exactly young, and a young centre-back from Germany that is struggling with his side. The only thing you can think of is that the price tag was presumably low, like because they haven't got the experience and they're not playing for good teams. Their price tags wouldn't have been high, but that's not a good enough reason to buy him. You don't sign a terrible player for 500,000 because he's 500,000. You just don't. You want to buy either a promising player or a squad player, and Ben Davies is sitting on the bench, but he's not playing, and you've signed him, and what's he going to do? He might be there for the next 18 months, and then you'll sell him again. And in terms of Kabak, like I said, if they sign him, what does he do next year? If they don't sign him, what was the point of even getting him? Because you could have just used Ben Davies.
Yeah. Looking at Sunday's games, we've got the first game is Southampton versus Burnley. I think Southampton win it, obviously. For context, before literally 2 minutes just before I just did that little bit then. I tried it before, and we both started with our first not laughing, so we're trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to kind of move on quickly so we can kind of calm down a bit. It's hard.
Yeah, sorry. It's difficult. It's challenging.
Yeah, it is. Southampton versus Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
I think Southampton win. Either that or it's going to be a draw.
Ooh.
I don't think it'll be Burnley win.
I don't know. Burnley have had some shocking results this season. Didn't they beat Liverpool, didn't they? 1-0.
Yeah.
Did they beat Tottenham? Or am I just imagining that?
I don't think they did. I think they might have come close, but I don't think they did.
Okay.
No,
well,
they lost 4.
Burnley...
They didn't even come close. They lost 4-0.
Yeah, close. That was close.
Well, they beat Everton 2-1 last game, didn't they?
Oh, that's the one I meant.
Dwight McNeil.
Yeah, that's the one I meant. I feel like Burnley could do something. Southampton, again, just haven't been what they were at the start of the season, thanks to sort of Danny Ings. I think he's been injured, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've had to rely on players like Djenepo and
Shea
Adams, James Ward-Prowse, Armstrong, players like that. I don't think Southampton will win. I think it might be a draw, but I'll give it Burnley's favour. I think maybe 1-0 with Chris Wood, back post.
1-0 with Shea Adams.
Yeah, it's not going to be a very high-scoring game.
No. Another, I don't know whether, I think this one's got defence written all over it. Tottenham versus Newcastle. More importantly, the Newcastle defence.
Well, yeah, because they a couple of months ago, they were pretty safe from relegation. Now it's between them and Fulham, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there's a couple of other teams in there, but Newcastle and Fulham are pretty much the two that are trying to stay above.
Obviously, you've got Sheffield United at the bottom, West Brom, Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, Burnley, Southampton. That's 20th to 14th.
Yeah.
Fulham and Newcastle separate by 2 points.
Mm-hmm. And Newcastle got a game in hand, so if they win this one, it'll be 5.
So,
Tottenham ain't the team to lose to Newcastle, so I think Newcastle will take the L, and I think Tottenham will win like 2 or 3-0. I think pretty convincing game. Newcastle again are probably one of the only teams in terms of like on paper. They're such a terrible team.
Yeah.
But it's so mismatched and all over the place.
But then I think because it's so mismatched, it works so well for them players because they know they're not expected to do anything. Because the expectation...
Yeah, but it doesn't work well when they're in a relegation battle.
No, you're right. There's two sides to the coin. There's not much expectations, but they still expect you to be mid-table.
They don't expect relegation.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the team's too good to go down, but it's not good enough to do as well as we would think Newcastle should do.
Well, yeah. If you look at, when Shearer was there, how they were in Europe at one point.
Yeah.
FA Cup finals. They were pretty much.
That's the same with Fulham.
They're pretty much doing what West Ham are doing.
Fulham. Remember when Fulham were in the Europa League and they knocked Juventus out?
They're still that. I think if I remember right, the Fulham are still unbeaten in Europe.
Probably.
I think they're unbeaten in Europe at home.
Imagine this three, yeah? Bobby Zamora, Paul Konchesky, Danny Murphy, or Clint Dempsey, or
Jesus,
filthy. Roy Hodgson as your manager.
Oh my God. Oh.
Dirty.
Yeah.
I think they had Andrew Johnson,
Yeah. Friedel.
Friedel. Who did they have a centre back? Steve Sidwell. I know he wasn't centre back, but he was midfield.
Yeah.
Damn, that was actually a half decent side.
Well, it's like when AC Milan came to Portsmouth.
Oh yeah, was it Sol Cambalera?
Yeah, because it was when Peter Crouch was there.
Oh yeah, so Carnu, Montari, Kevin Prince Boateng, David James,
Crouch,
Defoe was there, Kranjkar, of course.
Yeah.
Utaka, Diarra, Lasana Diarra was there.
Yeah. It's mad to think some of those players.
Some of them were there before they even became big things, like Sully Montari. I think he went to AC Milan after that. Kevin Prince Boateng, I think he went to Milan or somewhere like that.
You know, but then it's like, if you look at it, you know, there's been plenty of players who've done that. Like recently, Choupo-Moting's been one of them. You know, he was at Stoke, didn't do very well at Stoke, did he? Now look at him. He was at PSG. Now he's at fucking Bayern,
scoring in Champions League semi-finals.
Yeah,
it's mad.
You know, Shaqiri's one of them. Shaqiri's another one.
I was going to just say Shaqiri.
Yeah. Madness.
Yeah.
You know, it just shows you how far you can fall, and then how quickly you can rise.
Within a couple of years, you can go from being relegated with Stoke to winning the Champions League and the Premier League with Liverpool.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
Yeah. I think Tottenham will win. Yeah, you said 3-0, 4-0, maybe. Just think Newcastle there won't be much of a test. Aston Villa versus Fulham.
That'd be a good game. I want to watch that.
Yeah, it will be definitely a good game. Like you said, you know, Fulham have been picking up points, desperate points recently.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing some good football. You know, with Newcastle obviously losing, they will probably end up losing against Tottenham. If Fulham can then even pick up a point, point's better than
it
nothing.
Just narrows that gap just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like Fulham could. It depends. Is Grealish still injured?
I'll have a look. I think he's on his way back. Yeah, he just says he's doubtful.
Right. Okay. So he probably won't play, but he might play the week after.
But he's expected back on the 21st of Feb. So obviously, we've had a bit of time between them. So I would presume that he would be. He would be playing.
Back. Right. Okay. But I don't know. I was going to say without him, Villa haven't looked as good. But then Fulham again could, shock some people. They need points. They have to gain points. Newcastle, I feel like, are only going to lose against Tottenham, so it's not too much of a blow if Fulham do lose. But like you said, even a draw, I'll go for a 2-2 draw. I think Fulham will take that, and I think Scott Parker. I think Newcastle will go down. To be honest, I think Scott Parker will keep Fulham up.
Yeah, it's only. I think Fulham just nick it like 2-1.
That'd be a great result for them.
It would.
They'll be ahead of them then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, by 1 point.
Yeah, that'd be good. I want Fulham to be fair, because they're so much better to watch than Newcastle.
Yeah, I don't think Steve Bruce is the person to lead the Newcastle. I think
definitely not.
I think when Rafa was there, they were getting somewhere, but Mike Ashley wasn't backing him enough.
It doesn't make sense that Mike Ashley wasn't backing him, yet he backed Steve Bruce to buy, Joe Linton for 45 million or whatever it was.
I think it's just because I don't think he got on with the Rafa at all. Because obviously Rafa Benitez, he's top level manager. Mm-hmm. He knows what to do. Whereas I think Ashley wanted to control a bit more, and Rafa was kind of like, no.
So he implemented getting an idiot to sort of be his puppet, like Steve Bruce. Because Steve
I think
Bruce is just happy to have a job.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is.
Steve
be honest
Jobs.
with you.
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. Yeah. Steve Bruce, is happy to have no sort of say in terms of money and finance and transfers, as long as he's got a job, I suppose.
Yeah, he probably will have some say. With, and I want this. He would probably only go, I want this type of player.
Yeah,
and then they'll go out.
Exactly.
Then they'll go out and find someone.
I thought they'd do way better than they have done. I thought the two signings of Callum Wilson and Fraser were quality. Callum Wilson's been half decent before he got injured.
Jeff Hendricks, another one. Coming
Yeah,
on
I thought
free.
he would do. Jamal Lewis as well.
Yeah.
He's not really done anything, to be fair. He's not really... Does he even play? I don't think he even plays, really, does he? So I think Manquillo plays on the left, no?
Yeah.
No, he's a right back, but I think he's been playing left back.
I think
when a right back keeps a left back out of their position, it's a bit worrying.
Yeah. But surely, I would have thought that. But then again, it's just Newcastle have just been playing bad. Joel Dummett was playing against Brighton in the last game.
Joel Dummett.
I know. Joel Dummett was playing. He was on the bench, Lewis.
Yeah. You mean Paul Dummett?
The same person. He's played 23 games this season.
Who? Joel Dummett?
No. Jamal Lewis.
Oh, okay.
He's
played 23 games?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's played. Last game he played was against Wolves on the 27th of February.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so he's been kept out a little while.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't realise he played that often, to be honest.
But I think because he's a natural left back, I think you kind of just... I never understand playing, right back, centre backs, whatever, at left back, because they're not comfortable.
Yeah, just playing their natural position.
I know Dummett is a left back, but he's nowhere near what Lewis would be.
No.
So Newcastle just needs someone to. They need someone in that. To be honest with you, they need Ashley out and someone to come in to support the club and bring in a new manager and give the manager time to implement what he wants in the club, because Newcastle deserve it, really.
Well, yeah, they do. Think of all the heartbreak they've had.
Yeah. So I think that's all they need. Then United versus Brighton.
Yeah.
I think United win. 3-1.
I think that's a pretty sound result. I'd be happy with that. Coming off, what was their last result?
Which one, Brighton or? 3-1 loss to Leicester in the FA Cup.
Oh yeah, let's not talk about that. 1-0 win over West Ham. That was the last result that I remember. But Brighton again.
Yeah, that was the West. That was the during the league, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was only joking. I think 3-1 probably sounds about right. I reckon. Who do you reckon will score for Brighton?
It'll be Trossard or someone someone in defence from a corner. It's like I always say.
Nah, I reckon Trossard. Yeah, you're right. Trossard's their shining light at the moment. Yeah, Trossard.
Leandro Trossard.
He's half decent.
He is.
He'd do well at Leicester.
Yeah, it's just a shame that
Leicester or Leeds? Nah, not Leeds.
No. Someone around, maybe not Tottenham, because obviously with how Mourinho plays.
Yeah, but then they've still got Son and Kane.
Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like like less like those kind of teams. Monday night you got Everton. Well, Monday you got Everton versus Crystal Palace. Everton to win 2-1.
I'll say 3-1. Richarlison.
Calvert-Lewin.
Celebration.
I think it'll be Calvert-Lewin.
All right. They can both score.
Yeah.
You just know Richarlison won't score, but Calvert-Lewin will.
And then the final game of the weekend is Wolves versus West Ham.
Now, that's a tough one. I'll say West. Will John Ruddy go in goal? He will now, won't he?
Yeah, I don't know because I don't know how the concussion protocol works. Because obviously I don't know whether he played for Portugal.
Oh yeah, come have a look at that.
Because if he played for,
I think West Ham probably will win.
No, he didn't. He hadn't played for Portugal.
Right, there you go then. So he probably won't play. So yeah, John Ruddy. So yeah, I think West Ham win based off of that. And with no Raul Jimenez, they have to have Willian Jose or that youngster up front. So I think
Silva.
Yeah, Fabio Silva, who looks promising. When he came on the other week, when in that game where he had the head incident, he looked good. He was getting chances. So, I think I'd probably prefer him to start than Willian Jose, and then maybe bring Jose on with like 20 minutes to go or something, or bring them both, keep them both on as like a two up front.
No, I was going to say, why don't you just play both? Because then it gives them more options.
But yeah, I'll say 2-0 to West Ham.
2-1 West Ham.
Really sticking your neck out on the line there.
Well, I think someone like Giammattini or Ruben Neves, someone along those lines, could get a goal.
Mm-hmm. I don't think either of them scored this season, have they?
I don't think so. It'll be something like the West Ham defence won't quite close them down quick enough, and then like Neves, for example, will just pop a shot off and it'll be a worldie. I just think that's something that could happen.
I still think West Ham will win, to be honest.
I do too, but
sure.
But never mind. So yeah, that's our predictions for the weekend. Now we get on to the bit that you really clicked on this video for, which is the Football Pundits tier list.
Let's do it.
Right, I'm going to start.
Are you going to throw them at me? You're going to just list them, and then what do we do? Are we giving a rating, or are we putting them in, God tier, good, decent, shit?
You decide. I'll throw the first person at you, and then whatever you decide, we'll run with.
Right, okay.
Jermaine Genius.
So what's the criteria? It'd have been helpful if we'd have done this beforehand, but
yeah, our criteria is just genuinely what do we think of them as a pundit, and,
right?
That
so I'm going to say
forget about any stature of who they are, whether they played for England or anything.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to
think about them as how they come across on TV.
Okay, perfect. Jermaine Genius. I feel like I don't know. It's a good start, isn't it? I don't think he doesn't come across badly. I feel like he doesn't do himself justice. I feel like he seems too neutral some of the time. And he doesn't, I don't know, he just doesn't seem so hard-hitting as a lot of the other people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's trying to, because I watched, I saw a clip of one show earlier and he was presenting it. And I think he's trying to be too sort of, not PG, but sort of less controversial to maintain a good reputation and a good image, whereas
Yeah,
other people don't care.
I know what you mean.
He's sort of forgettable, if that makes sense. I feel like that's why, although he was like such a promising player and I remember him as a player, I don't really care for him as a pundit.
Yeah, because like the one that always gets me, and I'll never forget it, and it was the flipping Chelsea versus Tottenham game when Chelsea beat them 4-2, I think, and there was that Matic screamer, and he said Tottenham deserved to win the game. And then Shearer Shearer just looks at him and says, "What makes you think that Tottenham believed to win the game?" And then he tried to say, "Oh, they had loads of possession, things like that." And then he went, "Yeah, but Chelsea won 4-2."
Yeah,
Like you said, I don't mind him. It's just sometimes he can come across, like you said, too neutral, or the other way, too Tottenham.
yeah, it's never good. It's like, I think you should be impartial when you're a pundit, irrespective of like what team. Say if you've managed and played for the same team, if you're not going to be impartial, what's the point?
Yeah. Graham Souness.
Boo.
Yeah, no, he's too negative. He's so negative about everything. Except
Yeah,
Liverpool.
it's not fun. It's like your granddad sitting in the corner a bit pissed up going, "Oh, it's not like it was back in my day." Shut up. You took a flag in Turkey and spiked it in the ground. You're an idiot. Go away.
Yeah, I just don't. Like you said, it just seems he seems to be clinging on to his past, and
so badly. It's like if you showed a picture to him if you showed a picture of him now to like a 15, 16-year-old,
they'd only know him off Sky Sports.
Exactly.
They wouldn't know him for the football.
Get him with the big tash on. Get him back with the big tash and the perm. Bring back the good old days. Get him back with that. Then he'd have a bit of charisma about him rather than looking like he wants to fucking shoot everyone in the place.
Yeah. Ian Wright.
So Jermaine Genius is there. Graham Souness is down there.
Okay.
Ian Wright. Has he really done anything recently?
He does Match of the Day mostly.
I don't watch it.
Forgettable.
The
thing is, like, when he's on Match of the Day, he's really good because he can bounce off Lineker. Shearer is sometimes he's on with. Dion Dublin is another one he's on with. Those are the people he's mainly on with. Sometimes he's on with Mika Richards. We'll get onto him in a bit. He can bounce off people and he works really well with quite a few people.
I think out of the three we've said so far, he's definitely at the top of the list.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Got a lot of knowledge, and I have seen like stuff he's been on, and it is very insightful, especially about his position. Whereas he offers more than just a criticism; he offers more advice on the role and what he should have done. Whereas I don't think Jermaine Genius and Graham Souness necessarily do that to the extent they should.
Mika Richards, obviously, I've mentioned him about Ian Wright.
He's like a character. I don't even know what to say. In an argument with someone, he's laughing and falling back on his chair like he's just heard the world's funniest joke. It doesn't make sense. I was talking to my dad, and it seems now that, like this is going to be such a weird reference, but like in wrestling, they have to have like a character.
Oh, yes.
It seems like with punditry, they've all got to have their little niche. Like Graham Souness is the old man, the old negative man in the corner. Roy Keane is, the stern sort of hard man that doesn't take any shit. Mika Richards is the one laughing. Jermaine Genius is the one that doesn't really do anything. It's Gary Lineker sitting in the corner eating a bag of crisps. Just stuff like that. It's like they play up to the fact that they do that. So it's like in their ear, oh, you got to laugh now, and then he starts laughing. It's so boring to watch, and it's so not entertaining. And if he's trying to be funny, it isn't. He's pro City, of course he is, because he used to play for him, but it's boring. No one cares. Again, I wouldn't miss him. Out of those four, the one I would miss is probably Graham Souness, just because he is entertaining, and I feel like Mika Richards, Ian Wright is good, but I don't feel like he's not really on like Sky and BT much, is he?
No.
That's what I watch more often than Match of the Day. So I would keep Graham Souness out of those, and I'd keep Wright, but I wouldn't keep the other two because they're just forgettable. In a handful of years, no one's going to even remember Jermaine Genius was a commentator unless he's still doing it. And likewise with Mika Richards. It's just boring and they offer nothing.
One person who seems to offer everything, Roy Keane. You mentioned him a minute ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just going to seem biased though.
Thing is with me, Roy Keane works well against someone like Mika Richards because it's very much chalk and cheese. Mika Richards being the loving character he is, he's always smiling, he's always happy. And Roy Keane looks like he's always miserable. and this is I say this to my mum and dad as well. I like Roy Keane because even though he played for United, he will slag United off to no end.
He's the first person to slag United off, and I like that because I don't care if you used to play for a team, you support a team or whatever. If you're willing to slag them off, then good. That's the one. I've seen Graham Souness doing it more recently, but when they were winning, he really wouldn't pick out a flaw. Whereas even if United end up winning 2 or 3-0 against Liverpool and someone makes a mistake, he'll pick up on that mistake. He won't let them forget it because I think you've got to do that as a pundit. You can't just go, yeah, it was a good performance, da-da-da-da-da. That's what the players are there for. That's what the managers are there for. The pundits are there to give that in-depth analysis. And if they're not doing it, like, you have to criticise sometimes. Roy Keane's not scared of that. Whereas I feel like sometimes players like people like Jermaine Genius and Mika Richards don't necessarily do it because they're trying to save face and, have a good reputation as, in other things. Whereas Roy Keane really doesn't really do anything else. He does pure punditry.
Yeah. Another person, they tend to come as a package deal sometimes. Neville and Carragher.
I mean, they're elite, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're top of the pile.
Especially when they're together. Like early days of Monday Night Football.
Oh,
when they used to just crack.
It could be its own show.
When they just used to crack jokes about each other and make slide digs at each other, like when you're a right back, you're either a failed centre back or a failed winger, and no one wants to grow up to be a Gary Neville.
It's just brilliant. It could be like a sitcom. Yeah. It's just so good. That's the entertainment. This is what I'm talking about. Like, in terms of like Mika Richards, it seems like he's trying to do it, like trying to force it a little bit. But with them two, it seems like they're best mates. It's so natural for them.
Yeah.
It seems like Mika Richards is trying to force that in to sort of get sort of the height and fame that them two have in the punditry world. But again, you can't beat them. They're irreplaceable. They're the best two that do it.
Yeah, 100%. Another person who I believe is an incredible. He does more commentating for Sky occasionally on Gillette Soccer Special. Chris Kamara.
Oh God, I haven't seen him much. Do you mean he does the games?
The reporting at the games, yeah.
Again, yeah, you can't beat him. In terms of someone that so doesn't seem like he knows anything about football.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he knows what day it is. He doesn't seem like he knows what job he's supposed to be doing. But again, that's unintentional entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what it should be like. I mean, it's hilarious. Some of the clips from 10, 15 years ago.
The very he's the biggest clip and the best clip of him all is when he, it's Portsmouth versus Reading, I think, and Jeff Stelly goes to him. There's been a red card, Cammy. I don't know. Has there? And he's like, "Oh yeah, this person's been sent off. Oh yeah, he's been off. I thought they were just bringing on a sub."
I know, it's classic.
Yeah,
It's proper classic. Exactly. I mean, even though he's failing at what he's supposed to be doing, it's just funny, and you don't care.
Yeah. Even when he's when he's not funny, he still paints a good picture of what's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
He's still
when he's actually doing his job,
when he's still talking, he is very good.
100%.
Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand.
Again, he is a bit forgetful. Not that he forgets things, but as a pundit, he's not the most memorable person.
At times, he tends to have his moments, I think.
But he's okay. I don't know. He is just forgettable. Like, I can remember Roy Keane, I remember Graham Souness, I remember Neville and Carragher, but I can't remember him really doing anything memorable.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I said, he does bits here and there, but not really anything too special. Yeah. We'll do two more to wrap it up, because I think we've been on for quite a while now. The penultimate one, Alan Shearer.
Again, he's probably one of the GOATs in terms of he was one of the first ones that, in terms of match of the day, that's what I think of. Like, the first few people on match of the day, it was like him, Alan, what was his name? Hansen, how did I forget him? Alan Hansen and what's his name?
Lawrence.
That's the one.
Mark Lawrence.
Them two, and then I think Shearer came. I don't know if Shearer came in straight away, but he came in pretty soon after.
Yeah.
He was like one of the first sort of. I know Alan Hansen was a player, but I mean, like a more recent player that started to become a pundit.
Well, I think what happened was Shearer retired, went to Match of the Day, and then went back to coach, and then came back to Match of the Day.
Yeah. It's again, he was one of the first ones that I've seen play do it, and I mean, he's still doing it now. Again, he is so memorable because you just see him and bald head, Newcastle accent, and up.
But the thing is as well with Alan Shearer is because he scored 260 goals in the striker position in the Premier League on Match of the Day. He works because he can analyse the forwards movement. He can analyse stuff going in the front section of the pitch.
Yeah, there's no one better to do that.
Yes, than someone who's a proven goal scorer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll do it at the end. The people in my top tier and the people that I would bin off, sack them. So Sky, BT, BBC, if you're watching this, take my advice and sack these people.
And the last but not least, Jamie Redknapp.
Oh God, I have nothing to say about him. I just when I thought of him then, I just pictured him on League of Their Own. I forgot he did punditry.
Well, there you go.
I just can't take him seriously. Sorry, go on. I can't take him seriously. He seems like a character. I just can't. All his years on like other TV shows, he seems like a character doing something, and I can never take him serious. I struggle to take a pundit serious. I know when you said about like who they were as a player, but I struggled to take them serious when they didn't really do much. I know he played a lot for Liverpool. He played for Tottenham. He did play for England, but a lot of that's overshadowed by the sort of stupid stuff he does with James Corden and Jack Whitehall.
Yeah, I know you mean. He almost, I understand having, doing other things.
Yeah.
But it kind of subtracts away from the main thing that you are trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
He's almost becoming a TV personality, not.
That's exactly it.
You know, not. He's not a football pundit.
No, not at all.
So, like you said, you're gonna rank them.
Okay.
First of all, I want to hear the ones you're. Well, let's imagine you've run your own company, your own media company. You've got a pick of all the ones that I've just given you.
Right.
You can promote 3 of them.
What do you mean promote?
As in, all right, you can pick 3 of them.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
And then.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but I sort of need 4.
All right, 4.
Just so it works, because you'll know why.
4 then.
Right. So that it's like 4, like the presenter, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Okay. So instantly you're gonna have the double act. You know, Carragher and Neville. You've instantly got to have them because they're just so. They just works amazingly. Oh, so I'm trying to think about who I think would give the most insight or who would be the most entertaining. I think Roy Keane's got to be there, just because even Gary Neville and Roy Keane would have arguments. Yeah. And then I'm debating, like you said, the chalk and cheese with Mika Richards. I know I said I wouldn't want him, but he does they bounce off each other so well because it is like ultimate positivity versus ultimate negativity. Or would I go with Graham Souness just to have the 2 United, 2 Liverpool? You're the one who's deciding. Because I'm trying to think, because Chris Kamara, you couldn't necessarily have him there because I feel like he wouldn't say anything. He would be very much overwhelmed by the characters in there. Although he's a big character, I feel like he wouldn't shout over other people, whereas the rest of them all would. Yeah. I think I'd go Graham Souness. I think those 4 just are. There's so many memes in there. It's like the two old guys, the 2 younger guys, 2 United, 2 Liverpool. You know, 2 have been pundits, 2 have been managers. There is the ultimate mix there. I think if you're looking for a lineup, that's what you want. Who are you sacking? Or how many can I have? You can sack as many as you want. Well, I say as many as you want. Within reason, you can't just bin off all of the other ones. Okay. I think I'll probably sack 2. The 2 that I think offer the least, I'd probably say Jamie Redknapp and Jermaine Genius. I think they're just so forgettable. Yeah, like I said, Jamie Redknapp's now turning into a TV personality, not necessarily a football pundit. So is Jermaine Genius. He's a presenter on, the One Show now. Yeah. It seems like he's not doing like I said before, he's not doing the controversial stuff because he wants to, go into mainstream telly. Yeah, I guess so. But that's your picks. That's what we're going to roll with. Yeah. We're going to sack them off. We're going to email Sky Sports, BT, all of them, League of Their Own, and tell them to sack them. Because I said so. Okay. But there you have it, guys. That has been the little tier list thing that we did towards the end of the episode. It's been a bit of a long one, I think. I don't even know how long we've been on. Probably been on for about we've been on for about 2 hours. About 2 hours. Because it is quite late now. Past my bedtime. It's 8 o'clock. Yeah. Thanks for watching. What's the next episode? You need to do a tier list next week. All right, I'll do. All right, okay. Is it the same one or? Oh, nah. I'll come up with one. All right, you come up with one, and then I'll come up with one, and then we'll do it. Okay. All right, cool. So watch that for subscribe, turn your notifications on, ready for that next week. Wait, by the way, everyone, just look at that horrendous shirt he's wearing. Wow. I just have to call that out. Wow. Towards the end of the episode, really? Yeah, exactly. Just so the true fans will actually see it. Right, okay. So thanks for watching. Subscribe,
and turn on notifications so you're notified of every upload. Because if you miss next week's episode, you're going to miss my tier list. I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Ooh, mystery. Wait.
Mystery tier list. Like the video, comment down below what you'd like to see on the channel. Comment down below any guests you'd like to get on the channel.
Still waiting for our first one.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow me on TikTok, follow me where it does not in person. And that's it. I'm going to act like I do every time.
Anything to add?
Anything to add?
Nope.
Just got to make sure. Got to be nice, innit? Got to be nice.
1 week I will have something to add.
All right. Well, that's it for us this week, and we'll see you guys next week for next week's podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.